July 1st, 2012 breaking story and something that we need to take a serious look at. I'll put the link to this article below. Report Al-Qaida planning to crash U.S. airline during London Olympics. According to the Sunday Times, a Norwegian who was trained in Yemen plans to crash the plane on a suicide mission. British authorities say there is a shortage of personnel to carry out proper security screenings. I'll put this link below for you. The Al-Qaida branch in the Arabian Peninsula is believed to be planning a terror attack during the Olympic Games in London, scheduled to begin at the end of the month, according to a report in today's Sunday Times. Quoting intelligence services, the organization has recruited a Norwegian Muslim convert who was supposed to hijack a U.S. passenger plane and crash it on a suicide mission. It is not clear, though, that the attack targeted one of the Olympic venues despite the timing. Al-Qaida in the Arabian Peninsula has been involved in a number of attempts to carry out high-profile attacks on Western targets. Jonathan Evans, head of M15, Britain's domestic security services, said in a rare public address last week that the Games are not an easy target, and the fact that we have disrupted multiple terrorist plots here and abroad in recent years demonstrates that the UK as a whole is not an easy target. Despite the success in foiling terrorist attacks, Evans warns that in back rooms and in cars on the streets of this country, there is no shortage of individuals talking about wanting to mount terrorist attacks here, and spoke of the threat of Western Muslim citizens who have been radicalized and trained in camps in countries such as Yemen and Sudan, traveling back to the West to carry out attacks. According to the sources quoted in the Sunday Times, a Norwegian citizen in his mid-30s and who names himself Abu Abdurrahman converted to Islam in 2008 and has in recent months been undergoing training at AQAP bases in Yemen. There have been a number of reports over the last few months of Western citizens who joined Al-Qaida and are involved in its operations in Yemen against the local Western-backed security forces. The intelligence services believe that AQAP will try and take advantage of the fact the Norwegian has a clean criminal record and can travel throughout Europe with few restrictions. Around 600,000 people are expected to be accredited to the Olympics, and millions of additional tourists are expected in London over the next month. British airports are suffering from a shortage of qualified passport officers, and authorities have expressed concern that the border control will be swamped around the Olympics, and many visitors will not be sufficiently screened upon entrance. If they have this person's name and have this much suspicion, why isn't he being brought in for questioning? I imagine maybe they're going to have a White House dinner for him, for this person from Al-Qaida. As part of the elaborate security setup for the Olympics, the airborne threat has also been taken into account. Anti-aircraft missile batteries have been set up in open spaces and on the roofs of apartment buildings around London. Typhoon fighter jets have been stationed at Northolt Airfield near the capital, and snipers trained to shoot down light aircraft will operate from helicopters, taking off and landing from a battleship on the Thames. Prime Minister David Cameron will personally authorize shooting down a passenger plane believed to be on a suicide collision course. The preparations have drawn a significant amount of criticism, including from residents of one of the buildings where missiles have been stationed, and who are petitioning the court to have them removed. Whether or not the planned attack is connected to the Olympic Games or just set to coincide with them, it is reportedly scheduled to take place during a period when Western security service will be at their highest alert. The Games are also going to take place at a time when chaos in Yemen is increasing, as is the uncertainty in Saudi Arabia and the breakdown of negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. So we have this coming out Al-Qaida, we know who Al-Qaida works for, planning to crash a U.S. airline during the London Olympics. We have this person's name from Yemen, and now we understand that any United States aircraft airline that looks like it's going to be on a suicide mission, they're going to shoot it down. Kind of reminds me going back to 9/11. What are they going to do with this person? Are they going to bring him in for questioning? Or like I said, look at who Al-Qaida works for. Maybe President Obama will have him over for a White House dinner. Leave me your comments. Report Al-Qaida planning to crash U.S. airline during London Olympics. I'm interested in seeing your comments. God bless.